Alright, so here we are. This looks like a new package. I'm hoping it's not used, and inside we're supposed to have an FXXK Evo in the blue color. And it's by U2. The band, not really, but some brand that maybe likes U2 the band. I thought they were an okay band. In the 90s I liked listening to them. So I pulled up these images. The Ferrari, which is this, that came out first. Then they came out with the FXXK, where they added some funky downforce wings and chin spoiler. And now today we're looking at the Evo version of that, which has a greater wing and some revised front end stuff. So that's the evolution of this chassis. Here's the official website from Ferrari for this particular car. And so it's powered by a V12, making around 1050 CV. I don't know what that means to Westerners, but that makes sense. 900 Newton meters, a 6.3 liter engine. Tires, I'm curious, it's running on 19-inch fronts and 20-inch rears, and a lot of braking power. Almost 400 millimeter rotors. So interesting. I don't know which number I have, so I'm gonna have to come back with once I figure out what model is inside of this thing. So you have a sleeve. Seems excessively wasteful to protect a cardboard box, which is protecting a plastic box, which is protecting the model. I can understand this box because you don't want to have this all scratched up, but I don't know why the sleeve needs to protect that. If you get fingerprints, you can wipe it down with that thing. And then here's a card saying thanks for buying our stuff in Chinese and in English. Hold on, I'll focus in case you've never seen this card before. I have a bunch of other U2s in my playlist. Search the channel if you wish. And it looks like we have number 67. So let me come back. I found two images of this blue car. So the bottom of this has a stamped graphic. You can really see the texture of it. It's got some stainless steel, screws holding it in place. That's interesting. There's no tape holding this together. Okay, so, almost hit the model there. Be careful taking that thing apart. Alright, so Wikipedia is telling me the Evo came out in 2017 during the celebration of the 70th anniversary of the brand. And then this extra bodywork is creating 23% more downforce than the FXXK, the previous one, which also is 75% more downforce than the Ferrari. So 75% more downforce, that's a significant difference. In particular, let's look at the side one here. It's a little bit of an angle, that side view. I'm not sure if the front fender matches up so well. Let me get in a little closer here. Hold on, hit focus. Maybe it's okay, because it's kind of more like that, right? The rear looks good. This central wing thing, though, I don't know if that's kicking up too much or not. You got to decide. The wheels definitely look pretty good. The side sculpting looks pretty good. Anyways, you can pause the video and decide for yourself. Let's try the top view here. Alright, so there's a decrease in weight as well. 90 kilos worth. That's like a pretty large, big sized man, I guess. Okay. There's some crazy stuff going on in the back end of this car. Alright, I think that's enough for the comparisons. Pause, go back, decide for yourself if you think the model looks good or not. I won't find out until later. Well, here's a nameplate. It's a photo etched piece of very shiny stainless. The Ferrari horse there, that's all etched pretty deep actually. U2 the brand, and then it seems like there's 300 of this color, the blue. There's also a red. There's a really cool looking white one as well, but I decided to go with blue. There might be two reds even. There was another brand called AMA64 that had this model beforehand. I pre-ordered it from my dealer. Never got any notice that it came in. I have a suspicion he sold it to someone else. So I bought this off AliExpress. Alright, well, you can see the base itself. It's not polished smooth like other brands will do. It's just, yeah, it is what it is. Possibly, I think it's layered acrylic. It's just not very smooth, the edges. Boy, this front wheel, I'm really distracted by the fact that it's not centered in the wheel well. You know, the tire is really touching here, but not there. It's just not centered. Ignoring that fact, the actual molding of the wheel is pretty nice. It has these really tiny holes going around there. So those are probably real 3D holes, not painted dots. The center knockoff has some sort of detailing as well, so it looks like a cone or something coming out. The spokes are pretty thin. We have some cross-drilled rotors back there, and we have what I think are three-dimensional calipers. Where do we get the flashlight? I had focus in that area. Yeah, those are molded calipers. They're not flat pieces of metal. So that's not bad. Doesn't look like there's enough paint there on the top part, but yeah, it's really distracting though, just to see the thing jammed back like it just ran into a curb or something. So you might notice this pixelation of the graphic, but looking at some images, I think this is probably correct. I definitely know up here that red, white, and blue is supposed to be pixelated like that. So I wouldn't doubt, yeah, that these graphics are all like faded dots. See, it's solid back here, so it's on purpose that it's fading out. Alright, don't think it's like a weird printing issue. There's a little bit of a flag, I guess, but not enough, you know. The Italian flag, it's supposed to have green. So where's the green? Oh, I think it's right there. I think the decal wasn't laid properly. Maybe the faded, this white is one decal and the flag is another, because I think the green is inside the wheel well. Yeah, it is. Yeah. So that obviously could have been better. It's also weird that the white part of the flag is taller than the red part. So that seems odd as well. That's a poor decal right there. Okay. The tires are rounded. That's nice. Okay. Some sort of canards here. And the carbon decal here is a little bit of blue showing through, so that's not the greatest. Interesting, there's a 67 there. I'm trying to finish this side, but I'm already going to the front. We're just going to wrap around this direction. So does that vent go all the way through? I don't know. No, it doesn't. But it looks like there's some canard or some sort of black in there. I guess that's just supposed to be like a vent to the brakes, maybe. So that black has a texture. It's probably a separate piece of metal painted. Same with back here. We have a texture. I can't tell if it's paint or a separate piece though. Over here we have a different texture. Big dimples versus those dimples. Then we have a carbon graphic, probably a decal. Let me I'm gonna put this on the table. Okay. The front splitter kicks up a little bit, but not enough decal. I can see a little blue sliver there. So yeah, the decal could have been better. Just if it was bigger. They should have made the decal huge and just wrapped the extra under where you wouldn't see it anyways. This might be silly to check, but is it running treads or not? It should be slicks, right? Being a track car? Yeah, it's running slicks, so that makes sense. Alright, well, is there a tow hook there? Yes, there is. And that tow hook has a hole in it, so that's a photo etched piece of metal. Looks like it's painted like red, like a translucent red. That's why it still looks shiny. The Ferrari logo, is it upright? It is upright, and it seems around the correct size. As I mentioned, this is supposed to be a fading out color scheme. This is probably a quick release for the hood, but there's an air pocket in that groove, see? Oh, the whole thing. decals. I hate decals. That's why. If I pushed a lot, that would crack. Yeah, so that's not good, right? Having these little films that are going to harden and then crack off later. So if you don't, I suggest you guys never take a resin model out of the box, because there's a good chance if you touch it, you're going to peel up that decal. Well, what's up with that? I don't know if that should make sense or not. Right? I don't think that makes sense. It's nice that there's a radiator, but I do feel like there should be a grill over it on both sides. It's hard to tell on that top photograph I pulled up. Hold on, I'm gonna blow up that image quickly. It's just darkness, I cannot tell. So I don't know what the deal is there. You know, it seems odd that that wouldn't have another grill here. It almost looks like there could be glue residue, but somewhere along the way the grill fell out. If anyone should have this model, please let us know if there should be a grill here or not. If all models look like this, then I guess that's just a weird design choice. But I almost feel like it's just missing the thing. But it's like, why would they bother making this piece if that grill isn't passing air, right? If that's a solid grill, so you wouldn't be able to see that fan below it anyways. So it's strange that it would go through that effort. Interesting. This carbon decal, it's got a little wrinkliness, but the blue paint here, very smooth. Look at how sharp the reflection is of the LED above us. So that's a really smooth paint job. Unfortunately, this whole thing is a decal in the middle again, a little wrinkly. There's even an overlap. It looks like there's a break right here. So this is a decal, then that's a decal. Well, those are obviously decals. The emergency cutoff there, more latches for the hood. Okay, the wiper blade is bent perpendicular to the windscreen, so that's good. Alright, not so bad. The blackout of the windows on the backside surface. These mirrors are really cool. I mean, the carbon decal is, I think, is clear coated, right? You can see such a sharp reflection of the square LED above us. So it doesn't have the wrinkliness like here, you know, where it starts to fade out. So that's a great mirror that's clear coated. It's a crazy angle, but it is probably correct. Oh boy, I'm going way out of order today. We'll do the interior last though. So yeah, carbon decal, but again, blue is peeking through because it got stretched too much going into that recess of the door cut. Alright, then we have a little bump, maybe an antenna, if I had to guess. This vertical streak has a carbon graphic on it, and it's a really interesting vertical stabilizer because the base of it has these ridges, or oh, those are like air disruptors. They create turbulence to, like a golf ball does. It's probably for low drag if I had to guess. Leave a comment though, because they look pretty huge though on the top photograph I pulled up. So in fact, compared to the top photograph, they should be sticking out even further. I guess probably they're supposed to direct air underneath the wing, maybe? Alright. Here we see a ring and a black recess maybe below it. So I think that's probably a photo etch piece. And then there's a decal that says fuel. Alright, so one could, you know, make an assumption as to what that is. This is a decal here of the vent area. I guess it works because it's very thin. Yeah, alright. And then I like how this decal is going into that vent back there. And back there is a black piece, you know, for color separation with the texture. That's very nice. The rear wing here is three-dimensional. I don't see any major air pockets, and I do feel it's clear coated. There's some latches here for the rear clamshell. Alright, going back to the side here. There's a prancing horse. Interesting that it's so small and it's so there. You would think it'd be over here or something, or really right here, but that's just me. 67, it's okay. Oh, there's two 67s, I think. Right? It looks like there's a top edge of another one below this. I could be mistaken, but that's what the impression I'm getting. Why would they bother laying 267s on there? Maybe we'll have to see what the other side looks like. That vent is a separate piece for sure, so that's nice. Whoa, boy, freaks me out. That's a deep vent. I'm gonna need the flashlight here, and yes, a separate piece with some texturing. And you'll notice that texture is a lot finer than the texture up there. Interesting. So the two different metal etchings. There's a FXXK Evo decal right there, and some sort of text that I can't really make out. Or no, maybe that's just the edge of the decal. Yeah. A little bit of carbon here. Oh, that's cool. It says no step. Very neat. Okay. At least this wheel is centered properly. You know, it's not jammed up to either one side. And the brake, yeah, looks good. And I think that rotor looks smaller than the front rotor. Yeah, if I did, you'll have to decide for yourself, but I'm not sure if they're the same size. It might be an illusion, because I do think the rear wheel might be a bigger size than the front wheel. Yeah, it definitely has to be. Look at the top edge of this rim versus if I carry that across. This is a bigger wheel. So maybe the brakes are the same size, but I almost feel like they're still smaller. Anyways, it looks good. It looks pretty realistic to me. Unfortunately, there's a tiny bit of extra flash on the spokes there. Not a great deal, but it is there. Okay, this is kicking under, or no? This is like a wing. It's so thin. I think that's a photo etch piece of metal jammed into this little groove. That's cool. Alright. And then this is just a raw decal, I think, because you can see the roughness of it as I poke that air pocket. Shouldn't do that. There's that wing. That vertical there looks very smooth, nicely clear coated. The underside has the graphic going on, and I don't see any blue, so that's good. The taillights here, yeah. Boy, I don't know if they're clear or just painted some. It almost looks like it's just red and white paint. Oh, no, I'm wrong. If I get really close. The red, I think, has some translucency. I do think there is, you know, a thickness to that red. And I guess that white is also clear and is on a piece of stainless or something. Or a piece of, I don't know, painted white maybe? Then the grills back here are all separate pieces. You can see a little residue holding it on. The horse is a shiny sticker of some sort, and it's in the proper orientation. There's some sort of metal piece right here. Maybe that's a brake light, or I mean it's a mirror though on this. The carbon graphic looks pretty good. This looks pretty smooth. There's a tow hook there with again a hole in it. And this exhaust pipe, I think that's literally a piece of metal, because the edge of it is a reflector. They literally polished the edge of that pipe and then it goes in. It's really hard to get a piece of plastic to be that thin and that's that concentric and that far in. So that's what makes me think it's a piece of metal that was sanded or polished with the edge. And you'll notice they're actually coming out at an angle. They're not coming straight back. They're literally shooting out to the side. So that's really cool. Very nice. This red, I'm sure it's a decal, just going around the edge. I almost feel like it's wrapping. Maybe it's a couple decals. Oh, I almost feel it's easier to paint it red with like a paintbrush. You'd have to be kind of skilled to do it, but it's possible. Okay, well anyways, the carbon fiber work is pretty nice considering how complex and intricate this diffuser is, right? Just going underneath there, this little wing here, and then the vertical stabilizer, barge board is just hanging out there. That's a funky rear end. Okay, and the under wing there, going through there. Oh, now we're seeing some vents there next to the rear window. Yeah, so these are separate metal pieces. Then we have this clear packaging plastic with the blackout on the back side. So at a certain light angle, we should be able to see through that rear window. Let me get the flashlight, maybe that'll help wash out the LED above us. And yeah, there's something down there. And probably photo etched, just based on how crisp those tiny holes are. I don't know what that is though. I don't know if that's supposed to be like a heat shield or if that's the texture on top of the induction boxes or the cam covers. It's almost like a piece of silver in the middle of that one, but not on this one. And then what's going on to the right of it? I don't know. Yeah, there's some sort of boxes down there. Or you would think it'd be the differential, but... Well, anyways, a bunch of molded stuff down there in photo etch pieces, so that's pretty neat. Let me just see, is there anything else I missed from the outside? Well, the mirrors, they do have reflective stickers, so they literally are reflectors. You can literally see, if you look at, where's my finger, I don't even know. This mirror, as I shift it, you can literally see the reflection shifting, so that's pretty realistic. Oh, this is interesting. This side of the car has what looks like an outline of a hatch. Right? I don't know if the regular road car has two fuel doors. This is accurate to the top photograph, though. The top photograph, this thing is a cover, body colored, and then this side just has an open port. So, oh, is this like a hybrid? Maybe there's a charge port. Someone leave a comment on that if you can. I don't have time to research everything, guys. You know, I put out 2,500 videos in 3 years, so I don't research much. These side windows are pretty cool. I mean, they look like, I guess it must be two pieces of plastic here, and then like what looks like an actual finger grab, and then obviously that's an open hole. So, and then there's a blackout printed on the backside surface. That is a very realistic race window. Very impressive. Okay, well, interior time. So the dashboard, yeah, we got a whole bunch of molded details, and then you can see this carbon decal in that section that has the vents. You can see the prancing horse there in the center of the steering wheel. Maybe a decal right there in the center console with a bunch of buttons and knobs. Looks like, well, no, let's see. This is tough. I'm gonna have to put that down. Maybe get this angle. Oh yeah, I think we can already see some stuff. And get the flashlight. So, what are we looking at right now? I don't know if that's the steering wheel we're looking at or the center console. It's really hard to do. Oh, well, there in the opening. Those must be air vents. Below it is the center console with some red buttons and probably emergency cutoffs. A whole bunch of different colors. I think that's a pretty cool center console. Then the steering wheel, we got the horse over there, and it's got like a flat-topped steering wheel. The bottom is also flat, so it's kind of like a squished, squared-off circle, I guess. Instrument gauges? I don't know if this car would even have like a instrument gauge in a traditional sense. I don't know. Can't see right now. Can't tell. Let's see about if we look at it from the front. And these harnesses. Oh, yep, there we go. So you actually have two seats in this car, and then those harnesses look like they have stainless etched slide buckles there, and then the bottom we actually have the lock with all those buckles locked into it. So it's a 5-point harness. Very cool. Any sort of fire extinguisher? Yeah, but there's that crotch belt wrapping under the seat. You know what, see, in between the dash and the steering wheel, I kind of see like a silver rectangle. Maybe that's the instruments. Or is it this binnacle on the top of the dashboard? Yeah, it's probably that, right? Boy. I can't see gauges. I don't know if they're there or not. I don't know if the real car even has them, so don't know. Anyways, it's a good enough interior for me. I really like the seat belts. I mean, those seat belts are multiple piece seat belts, so that's quite impressive. Yeah, very good. You know, it would have been cooler if they were a different color. But maybe this blue car only has black seat belts. But I kind of feel like it would have been cooler if they were blue seat belts. I didn't even notice. Well, no, never mind. Yeah. The A-pillar is carbon fiber as well. It's just carrying across from the roof decal, it seems. Yeah, that's weird though. That whole vent slash radiator. It's almost like they should get rid of that piece of metal or cover that radiator. It's just weird to have that so asymmetric. But I can't tell in the top photograph here. I'm going to show you the top photograph again. I don't know what's going on there. It's so dark, right? I don't see any sort of circle. So that's what makes me think there'd be a grill. Because if you left this outside, a bunch of leaves would get all in there and get caught up in the radiator fan. So I suppose we should look at some other models. So here's the Ferrari by Kyosho. And that came out in 2013. In the real world, yep, there we go. And I guess the next evolution would have been the FXXK. Or really, wouldn't there be an FXX? Maybe that's what I'm missing. I feel like there should be an FXX, but that's those three. Yeah, I guess we have room for two resins, like street racer, track racing, street versions. How would you say that? A street car that's been modified for the track. So the F50 GT, this one is done by YM Model. I like to tape off these bottoms because the screws will scratch the case underneath it. So I advise you do that because I have scratched some cases because of my lack of doing that. Sorry, I'm just going to arrange that as best I can. And we'll fit up one other one here. And that is the 599XX program by Cars Lounge. Around 400 of the red ones out there. It's a really nice model. I really like it, but I feel like the dealer sent me a used model because look at all these crazy scratches, and you don't see that on the bottom of new models. I have like 150 resin videos on this channel, and I just don't recall that happening more than the two models I complained about recently. Okay, so I will say, you know, Kyosho, I still like that brand quite a lot. I think for the original prices those things are going for, they're awesome. And even by some other diecasts today, like the detailing in this, the only thing that's missing are the brakes. So I think that's a fantastic looking diecast. Oh, I could use some silver in the mirrors as well. And then that one is pretty nice too. Well, obviously the resins are going to have a lot of parts and all that stuff and look really much better, but they're exponentially pricier. And with all those extra parts, you very often get a lot of extra problems. So whether it's diecast or resin, it's actually rare to get a model that's perfect. And so the question now is, was there anything wrong with this? You know, the decals, they're just not big enough. I think if they just made bigger decals, they would, you know, cover up more of the blue. But for some reason, they're just not big enough in certain areas, and so you see a lot of the base coat coming through. So I think that would be an easy fix. At least some of these parts, like the mirrors, are clear coated, so those decals on the mirrors will never come up. But as you already saw me poking around, there are air pockets under a lot of these things, so when those decals become brittle, they might just crack off. And that's why I'm always saying decals are a horrible thing, and you should also make note of that on other people's channels and social media and stuff like that. We got to get away from decals. Tampo printing, that's the way to go. Okay, well anyways, I do have other models coming up in the pipeline. You know, I wasn't going to get the resin version of this because I find this car to be kind of ugly. But I saw pictures of this car in blue and it looked pretty cool. I just don't know if they make a resin one in a color. Don't be surprised if I do a resin review of the regular Ferrari, just because of this review. Thank you. We'll see you. Bye.